The idea that a candidate that's qualified, that meets the qualifications, cannot be on the ballot because some Secretary of State says, I think there was an insurrection and it's his fault, without an adjudication, is outrageous. Not only not an adjudication, there hasn't been a charge. But what is interesting today is a new poll from Suffolk University says that Trump is beating Biden, ready for this, folks, by 11 points when it comes to who the American people trust the most with our economy.
It's not just a single question poll. There was even others like, what one word describes for you the state of the economy? If you combine, there's excellent, good, fine, growing, improving, getting better, fair, average, fine. And then it gets into horrible, terrible, awful, bad, poor, weak,
Crashing.
sad, dismal, crashing, struggling, disastrous, shambles, chaotic, confusing, upheaval. Of those, combined, would be 61.9%.
Believe the economy is either horrible, terrible, awful, bad, poor, weak, sad, or dismal, crashing, struggling, disastrous, and shambles, chaotic, messy, confusing, unequal.
Over the next 4 or 5 days, the U.S. economy will take a $5 billion hit, even from a limited strike. They're asking the employers, the automakers, to subsidize the strikers who are out on strike. This strike will be somewhat disruptive. It could be obviously more disruptive if all of the plants are shut down. But I'm not necessarily sure the union has enough money in its strike fund to fully fund all workers if indeed all of them are on strike at the same time. Essentially, we have a fossilized president who has launched a war on fossil fuel. So Biden's economic policies are designed to ensure that the United States becomes a failed economic and perhaps political state.
How does an auto strike affect me?
I finally, after 3 years of being on a waiting list for an electric car from GM, got my, it's time for you to order. I said, oh, by now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't know. 3 years ago, I was ready to go because I thought this is fun. Now I've seen all the issues they're having. I was questioning, but I'm like, you know what? I'll still try to go ahead because you know why? I found out I could flip it for $30,000 or $40,000 over the sticker price. So if you're able to get a new car, then you're going to be able to sell it for more. And yes, you may be contributing a bit to the problem, but this becomes sort of the running problem, an issue that happens.
You go to a restaurant now and order, and take the grandkids to have burgers and, and a shake. And you get the bill and you think you're eating at a steak restaurant because the prices are so high. And then at the same time, and this is the irony to me, Harry, they're trying to keep the guy that one thing he really did well was the economy. I mean, no doubt about that. They want him off the ballot.
A lot of this is driven by ideology. Bidenomics, the Green New Deal, that's driven by ideology. It makes no sense economically, environmentally, or in the long run, politically. Keep in mind that in order to produce a single lithium battery for an electric vehicle, it requires the movement of 500,000 pounds of dirt and minerals. That requires the expenditure of what? Energy. And so that if you buy an electric vehicle, you also have to face the fact that in order to charge your electric vehicle, you have to burn fossil fuel.
The fact that we're seeing such a concerted effort at the federal level, we're seeing the politicization of the Department of Justice, how the Biden administration is using these tools and institutions to try to take out Donald Trump so that he is not someone who voters can consider. But we're also seeing it at the state level of how they're trying to literally take away our right to make our own decisions about who we want to lead and serve this country. When you look at what we're starting to see over the last few days here, where you have, Nancy Pelosi and other people kind of faltering in their support for the Biden-Harris ticket. And then you see mainstream media sources now actually starting to criticize directly President Biden and Kamala Harris. It's a reminder to us all that this is bigger than President Biden and Kamala Harris. This is about the Democrat elite in permanent Washington, very much afraid that if Donald Trump gets elected once again, that their power is threatened. And this should strike a chord of fear in everyone's hearts because they're so afraid of losing their power. They are willing to do whatever they feel they need to in order to protect it, including truly interfere in our election, take away our right to make our own decision about who we want to lead and serve our country.
I never would have envisioned what's going on right now. By the way, you talk about big tech. We've got another lawsuit we're launching on that. So, but let's focus on this one. As Logan said, our budget for this case is being set. It was set Wednesday, Thursday, and will be set and done tonight at midnight. That's where you come in. Go to aclj.org. That's aclj.org. Become part of our matching moment. Defend the constitutional right to vote. I never thought I'd be saying those words. But we have to defend the constitutional right to vote in this matching moment at aclj.org. It is that important to stand up and stand with us in this fight.